Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zip, here to bring you more content and what's going on in this digital asset environment. This is crypto week. Lots of things going on. Tonight, we're going to look at the macro view like we normally do, but we're going to expand on what regulations, what they're looking at, and what it means for us as crypto holders. The markets are still holding strong. Last I checked, XRP, Bitcoin are still up. They've dropped a little bit, but things are exciting right now. And I want you to keep in mind that as fast as things are accelerating, things can decline as well. So we want to keep our mindset absolutely on lock. Again, I appreciate everyone who's hits the like button, who's subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all the comments. I try to answer everything that I possibly can, and just continue to keep it up as we're trying to expand the channel and just bring as many people along on this journey as absolutely possible. And timing is critical. But we're going to take a look here, listen here to the CEO of Robinhood and what they have going on. And I want you to expand your mind. We're not even thinking big enough as far as where these digital assets are going to take us, like XRP, XLM, HBAR, SHX, Cardano. They're going to literally be the infrastructure layer behind everything in the future. And he kind of lays that out here, but we just have to think bigger and understand exactly what we own with these assets. Let's take a listen here.
Crypto is interesting because right now crypto is sort of this like separate segment of the business. We kind of look at it and the outside world perceives it as a different asset. How big is your crypto business going to be relative to, say, your options business or equities business? It's very much like this is a separate asset that you're trading. But what we're starting to see already is crypto is going to be this layer that is behind everything, right? Everything is going to be powered by crypto to some degree. Give you an example. Right now we have Robinhood Gold has a interest piece where you can earn interest on your cash. Well, as we get stablecoin out, crypto will have that as well. You'll be able to earn interest on your stable coins, and that'll be a significant business. And you might consider that part of crypto, but that's that's something that's akin to a savings account. Prediction markets over time, you see overseas things like Polymarket. That's a prediction markets business, but it's also powered by crypto. And over time,
everything that we know is going to change. And that's why it's absolutely critical to understand what we own and not to sell too early. Now, what do I mean by that? As I've talked about in other content previously, yes, we're going to pull off some capital. At least that's what Zip is going to do. Not giving you financial advice, but I'm going to pull out capital as we're climbing up into the markets. All right, to pull off some of that money that I have on the table, but I absolutely am not going to sell everything. And when it comes to XRP, I've talked about this numerous times. XRP is the one that I'm riding long term, long into the future to allow all this utility in this infrastructure that he is talking about in here. There's going to be so many capabilities for us to make passive income, money, yield on stable coins, through lending of our crypto, through DeFi, when you feel comfortable with that. And we'll drop more content on that here shortly, especially with Flare and what's going on there, and Firelight getting ready to be dropped. And I'm making a video just special on that. And there's some information that came out today. So just hold on a little longer, because I want to build that info around practical application so you can see it. But this infrastructure is the big part in the big picture that we have to see. Every facet of how we live life within the financial sector, within the infrastructure of our lives, are going to change. They're tokenizing everything. And we've seen that in numerous videos as well. Very exciting. Deadline. So today was July 14th. And what kicked off? Fedwire ISO 222. Now, the broad picture, again, the big picture is the deadline for ISO the whole new standard for electronic interchange between financial institutions has always been changed, but we know they're moving fast and it is not going to move this time. It's moving. November of 2025, the whole world will be ISO compliant. And keep in mind, we've gone over this a few times. ISO compliance is just a mechanism. It's a messaging system. And in Ripple payments using XRP, it is ISO compliant. XLM is ISO compliant. SHX is ISO compliant. Cardano, ISO compliant. All these high grade blue chip cryptos that you and I own, remember the technical stack that we hold that is going to be modernizing the system, are all ISO 222 compliant. And yep, today was July 14th. And guess what? There wasn't a flip of the switch today. It's going to take time to integrate all of this system with this new technology. Excuse me, but we are moving forward. So another key point to keep looking at as this infrastructure and this environment is changing. Remember, we're looking long term. That's why patience is absolutely the key here. But November 2025 is the next date for the whole world to be ISO compliant, to be able to move money in an updated fashion, in an updated capability technology, ISO 222. Eleanor Terrett came out with this. So I remember probably about 3 or 4 months ago, I made some content saying that the banks are going to be coming for our crypto. And someday we're going to be able to custody our crypto with the banks. We'll be able to leverage our crypto with the banks. We'll be able to take loans from the banks with our crypto. All of these things, and caught a lot of flack for that. But here we are today, and look at this. The big three banking regulators, the OCC, the Federal Reserve, and the FDIC issued a joint guidance on how banks should approach custodying crypto assets. Well, hello, here we are in the future. And it's coming. And I don't mean that we're going to be able to give them our products yet, but big picture, in the future, we're going to have the capability to use our assets to our advantage, to earn yield on, just like Robinhood was just talking about. But what was in this? Banks can hold crypto for customers in a fiduciary or non-fiduciary roles, but must follow existing laws and risk management principles, which we're getting ready to talk about the laws here in a minute, because this is crypto week. And the laws, as I've been stating, are the roadway, are the foundation of how they are able to play in this environment. Number two, key risks that they put out for banks to consider. Obviously, they have to secure the infrastructure. They have to have cryptographic key control. Just like we self-custody right now, we own our keys. We manage our keys. They have to have third-party oversight. Thirdly, if a bank holds the keys, it's then responsible and has the liability for said keys. Full control. They have full responsibility. Now, caution here, we're going to have to make sure that the laws are such that if we are going to hand over our assets to these banks, to these institutions, that there is insurance and they are fully liable if anything absolutely happens to our assets. And we are kind of like FDIC insurance. And that's why they put out this joint statement here. But there has to be some kind of insurance for them to be able to hold this. So we'll wait to see how this plays, because I'm not giving anyone my assets until I am fully secure and understanding exactly the environment which I'm releasing those into. And I'm not going to do it for a couple percent. It's not worth it. I can go into the DeFi environment and earn way more than that, and possibly just through staking protocols alone earn way more than that. So interestingly enough, it says here, this guidance says that banks must ensure that only they, not even the customer, can access the keys. which they call the standard for true control. That's why I'm laying caution in the wind here, because you're basically going to take our assets and we're going to move them over into the bank, which at this point in time is absolutely not happening for Zip. But it's the evolution of where we are going. And as these laws and these regulations come into place, all this will be clarified a lot better. Fourthly, third-party custody vendors are allowed, but banks remain on the hook for their actions, and they must do due diligence on them. So they can use third-party custodial platforms, but at the end of the day, they're going to be responsible. So as you can see, that snowball effect, that flywheel just keeps on moving, and it's getting further expanded to all these institutions, which is good news for us that own these assets. What else is going on here? This was an interesting take here in talking about crypto week and what's going on and what the House is actually working on and the Senate is working on this week. And we're going to deep dive into this here because it's my belief the laws are the key. I keep saying that. I know some people don't like that. We don't like regulation, but in order for all of this current financial infrastructure that we have to be played out and for them to be able to utilize the DLT technology like XRP, we have to have the laws laid down, and it's coming, and they're working fast and furious this week. But let's take a listen to this, and then we'll have a discussion on the laws.
In the world. For folks at home who may not be paying attention to crypto so much, how big is it getting to be in this country?
Oh, it's a huge industry, and it's growing by the day. Trillions of dollars are being traded, and unfortunately, some of the biggest crypto companies are in places like Singapore, the UAE, and El Salvador. We need to bring them here to America, the economic center of the world. But because we failed to put some legislation in place, and the prior administration was so, let's just say, disjointed, French Hill and the team here in Washington is really moving forward, and it's going to make us the crypto capital of the world, and that is the future of currency.
The House.
The crypto capital of the world. That is the mandate. And that's what these laws are going to do. We're bringing everything that's offshore to America again, so that we can fulfill the commitment that President Trump wants to be that crypto capital of the world. Now, what are they actually working on this week? Again, we're going to dive into this article from Eleanor Terrett and just talk about some of the key points in here, and we're going to concentrate on one that I found very, very interesting. So the legislative schedule for this week is in the House. What's going to be going on is they're going to look at the Genius Act, and they're going to pass that this week is what they're saying. They're also going to look at the Clarity Act and try to get that passed as well, and the anti-CBDC move over to the Senate, so they can move all of those last two, the Clarity and the anti-CBDC, over back to the Senate. But we may have that Genius Act, which is the stablecoin bill, passed this week, ready to go to the president's desk for his signature. Absolutely huge historical times going on here. Other things that are going on, which I found interesting in this article, which I hope this happens, but also on the House side, the Ways and Means Oversight Subcommittee is diving into crypto tax policy Wednesday with a hearing titled Making America the Crypto Capital of the World, Ensuring Digital Asset Policy Built for the 21st Century. It says here to expect tax treatment, reporting rules, and innovation incentives to be front and center. Absolutely huge if they can get something passed to where they either remove taxes completely on maybe American crypto companies, or they eliminate taxes or reduce the taxes to a very minimal amount. This is why I say constantly we have to be very flexible with our plan. Right now I have a plan and a system in place, but it's based around the tax infrastructure that we currently have. They pass a new tax infrastructure bill that eliminates crypto taxes. Man, the world's going to open up and the plan's going to change accordingly as well, as far as how we can execute and get out of these markets. Very exciting. And then the Senate, they're going to be discussing tax. They're going to be discussing the banking committee. They're going to have a banking committee roundtable, it says here. And as well as they're going to be discussing the market structure draft. Again, that's part of the Clarity Act that they're getting ready. When the House marks it up, it'll go to the Senate to give us full clarity on what's a security, what's a commodity, all of the specific designators in this digital asset environment. So a whole lot of things going on this week in DC, absolutely exciting things that benefit us, especially. Can't wait to see what happens with the taxes. Anytime we can eliminate taxes, huge, absolutely huge. But we'll have to wait to see what happens with it. But until then, we just have to keep our mindset absolutely clean, block out all the noise. Don't pay too much attention to the markets because they may dip a little bit and then they may shoot out. But things are gearing up, as I've been saying, Q3, late Q3, Q4, when all this stuff comes together, all of the puzzle pieces are coming together for an absolute explosion, I believe, later on in this year. But now is the time to absolutely get ready and know exactly how you're going to exit if you decide to exit. You have to have a plan, and we'll be going over my plan more. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Keep the conversation going. I'm also out on the collaborative text RP environment. We can continue the conversation out there in more in depth. You just need a Zamin wallet to onboard there. But the point is preparation, mindset, and things are moving forward. Absolutely exciting. Be safe, be smart, stay away from the scammers, stay away from the bots. In the comment sections, I try to delete them as much as possible. And we are going to continue to march forward on this journey, the very exciting journey, until one day we're all going to meet on the most beautiful beaches of the world. With that, Zip is out. Have a fantastic night.